Well, hey, everybody, this is Mitch Ashley.
And I'm Alan Schimmel.
And you're listening to Security Boulevard
Chat.
Nice. Welcome, Alan. Welcome back from vacation, man.
Thank you, Mitch. It was a great vacation. We were up in the Boston, Cape Cod area.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was telling you offline, we did some fishing. We went to the vineyard, to Nantucket, ate a lot of lobsters, a lot of steamed clams.
Oh, my.
Like more lobster, like I had to say enough. I had to tap out. I just couldn't do any more lobsters.
When does that happen? Never.
But it does when you go to Cape Cod for a week. And no, it was a great time. We rented like an old, big old house with, 5 bedrooms. And we had like 2 other couples with us, and then some people through the week local came in to visit, and we had a great time. It was good to unplug.
I think I was jonesing because we booked some time in Mexico. While we were like, we got to get our beach time in, so we're gonna take some time here. Then
absolutely, it's that time of year.
About a month, so it's
that
good
time of year.
That. Hey, well, I'm glad you made it home safe. You weren't affected by
I guess
CrowdStrike
we're going to talk
outage.
about it. Let's jump right into it. Yeah.
Did you?
I came home in the teeth of it, Mitch. Right? When the stuff was really hitting the fan. We So let me just say, I was very lucky. We flew JetBlue, and either JetBlue is not a CrowdStrike customer, which may very well be the case because they have no security. No, I'm only kidding. Maybe they're not a CrowdStrike customer,
that's extra, which you buy.
Right, security's extra. That's a true blue feature. Or maybe they don't use Windows, they use Linux, which would not surprise me because they're fairly new compared to, let's say, United, Delta, American. So they were probably a cloud first company, I'm going to bet.
Yeah, but pretty close to that. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Which makes sense. You would do that.
Mm-hmm. So I wasn't affected, thank God. But God, there were a lot of people affected.
I'm sure you walked by a lot of long lines and people trying to figure out
a lot of very upset people.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh,
because when stuff goes bad like that, then you just can't get people answers quick enough, and they don't like the answers that you give them.
Yeah. They don't like no answers either. Well, and plus, it's not just the airline; it's financial transactions. It's you name it, hospitals. It's everything, right?
You know what I didn't realize, Mitchell? That like individual people use CrowdStrike, like people's phones and computers.
It is widespread.
Were bricked.
Falcon. I tell you, who knew? We think of you and I think of CrowdStrike. I think they're a product company, but we're always talking about the breach that they investigated.
Well, that's what they're known for, right? Them and Mandiant are probably the preeminent forensics folks. Mm-hmm. But look, CrowdStrike is founded by George Kurtz, right? Mitch, you and I both know George.
Yeah.
George was one of the key, I think he was a co-founder at Foundstone, which was an early competitor of VAM 100 years ago, right?
That's cool.
And then, of course, Foundstone was bought by McAfee. And that became, that's what broke McAfee into kind of the network security field.
It did.
They were endpoint before that.
They made hay with it too. Yeah.
And they did. And George led it there. George was, high up at the McAfee folks. So, he went through all of that. George is an industry veteran. You probably read his letter of apology.
Oh, yeah. Several. Mm-hmm.
We spoke a little bit about this whole CrowdStrike thing on TechStrong Gang the last few days. And you know what, Mitchell? Let he without sin throw the first stone.
Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has bugs in their software. I'm not saying it's all, don't worry about it. I mean, we all strive not to do that, but this was a content update too. It wasn't even a software update. So whatever instruction or parameters get passed down to all the Falcon sensors caused a crash on certain versions of Windows, and boom, did it crash?
Mitch, as I mentioned on TechStrong Gang the other day, I'm surprised stuff like this doesn't happen more often. we update, everybody strives for multiple releases a day, week, whatever. And we push those releases and we push those releases. And what do you mean we didn't get a new release out today? We need this. And are we really testing all of these new releases or just this kind of catastrophic kind of problem, right?
Is it a collateral damage? We're willing to accept a certain amount of collateral damage, meaning not every bug brings down, the nation like CrowdStrike did.
Well, that gets into this whole monoculture and all of that stuff, right? But Mitchell, I think back, and I'm pretty sure you were with me. We went to New York. It has to be around 2005 and 2004. Microsoft had just started coming out with like Patch Tuesday patches.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And we went to, it was Citibank or Citigroup at the time. It wasn't Citi yet. Remember the guy, Peter Fisher. Peter was a great guy.
Yeah, he was very good.
He was one of the 3 global CIOs for Citi at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were trying to get them to buy VAM, obviously, right? But but we're not salespeople, so we were just barking. But anyway, we asked Peter, how soon did they get to a Patch Tuesday? Did they roll out Patch Tuesday on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? He was like, no, it takes us about 90 to 120 days.
I know. I was like, really?
And we were like, wow.
I'm not surprised you don't roll them out right away, but that's a long time. But it just shows the impact of going down. I mean, is that important?
Citi, and Peter and Citi were dead on it, that they made the risk assessment that they'd rather assume the risk of whatever security incident or security danger risk is being patched in this patch. They would assume that risk for 90 to 120 days rather than taking the risk of bringing the whole thing down or, something worse.
And that was a time when Microsoft was doing a lot of security patches. Remember, they sort of had that religion.
It was Patch Tuesday. Every Tuesday was another patch.
Yeah. Yeah. That whole emphasis on, yes, we're going to fix our security. Kind of back where they are now, right?
Yeah. Now, in terms of blaming Microsoft for this, though, I don't blame Microsoft.
No, I don't see it as their problem at all.
It's not their problem that, as I think someone said on Textron Gang, 70% of the computers still run Windows. No one forces you to run Windows. And they can't be responsible for checking every patch that comes out from every company.
Well, Microsoft pointed the finger at the EU.
EU.
2009 agreement, I think it was. Some part of that agreement was that they wouldn't lock down security operating system, the kernel, and so that other people like CrowdStrike could write software to do what they do in the kernel. So I don't know if that's truly maybe it was the agreement.
You know what, though? The flip side of that is if they did lock down the kernel and only Microsoft could unlock it, I think people would be rightfully yelling bloody murder. That
you truly are beholden to one vendor.
Yeah, that's not fair dinkum. Especially with Microsoft in the security business.
Mm-hmm. Well, know what? So my whole view on this, when you really step back, and it didn't take me long to kind of come to this conclusion, but okay, so there's a bug, and it caused widespread outage. Was the bug that caused it, or was the distribution of the faulty update? Would they rush the rollout of that update?
When I first heard this story, right, I'm still up in Cape Cod. I was trying to unplug, but that was my first thought, was CrowdStrike looking to rush out an update because there was some sort of critical vulnerability or threat that they had gotten wind of, and they were trying to, kind of plug that. And so they rushed it without testing enough. Well, I don't know.
It hit originally in Australia, in Windows systems there. Then it hit in Europe, and of course, then it hit in the U.S. Of course, I'm under Monday morning quarterbacking, but I'm just thinking, as someone who's released software like we have, right? For a business, you want to get it out the door, get it out in customers' hands, et cetera. But there's also if something does happen, what do? Can you pull it back? Can you do a snapshot back to what you were before? This is all on customer equipment. That's pretty difficult to do, especially when it causes it to crash. So you had sort of the combination of maybe it was pushed out too soon. You could do a little bit more diligence, kind of phased rollout, staging or A/B testing as you roll it out.
It depends. It depends. Was there some sort of critical threat that they were trying to head off at the pass here? I don't know. I mean, certainly it followed the sun.
Not that there wasn't, but it probably would have fallen on deaf ears. But George didn't make that claim.
No.
Oh,
maybe they can't say. Maybe there was agent state stuff involved. Who knows?
That very well could. But maybe a Tom Clancy novel there someday.
Yeah, it would be. Well, if not, maybe it's a Mitchell and Alan novel.
There you go. Exactly.
The real reason behind CrowdStrike.
Yes.
The CrowdStrike affair. But, I think that's what it could be, Mitch. It's we'll see what happens. But, you and some of the Futurum, your fellow Futurum analysts, did a really nice, in-depth postmortem on this. It's up. Is it up on the Futurum group website?
On the Futurum site in their insights page. I'll put a link in the description so folks can. Yeah, I posted it on LinkedIn and it's gone wild. It's gone crazy. It was one of the first ones I think to come out, postmortems. We just released it early yesterday, and it's Stephen. You'll see Paul Nash. Yeah, Stephen Dicken, Paul Nasralati, Krista Case, and Keith Townsend. Krista's now Krista Case, by the way. She got married.
Yes, I know. Congratulations to Krista.
And myself. And unfortunately, we wanted to get Shira Rubinoff, get her input on that. And she's traveling.
I think I saw a picture of Shira in the Middle East or something.
Yeah. So if she wasn't available, we'll get her insights separately.
So one of the things about this particular one, though, Mitchell, was, like you said, I wish there was a way to just snap it back. I wish there was, too. So do about 5 million other people.
Yeah.
But there's not a way of snapping this back. This is one of the major PIAs I've seen ever to fix a friggin' bug.
Do you remember back in the day when iPhones were pretty new and iTunes was how you updated your iPhone? And
Absolutely.
iTunes would brick.
What a bitch. Yeah, I remember.
All the time, pissing people off to no extreme. Mm-hmm. It's kind of that same way. Once it's bricked, and that's essentially what happened, right? If your Windows system's blue screening and it won't boot until you manually go in to remove this file and maybe do some corruption recovery if something happened to it. But it essentially bricked those computers. And there is no failback from bricking. Unless you have another BIOS that will boot you to another image of Windows.
Yeah, probably.
That's a whole nother.
You could probably find that in that CD-ROM disk in your drawer.
I got a stack of floppies here.
Remember though when Microsoft would give you that, find a boot disk, whatever, on CD-ROM, and you could boot it up that way. Yeah, sure. I always got those laying around.
For the MSDN developer license, I forgot what the program was called.
You remember that?
You get binders and boxes and floppy disks and CD-ROMs.
I remember those were good days.
Ridiculous.
Those were good days. I haven't even thought about that in the longest time. Yeah, I'm going to boot it off a boot disk.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get into my AutoBat config here and figure out what's going on.
Got my boot sector that's a little corrupted. Let me rebuild the boot sector. Oh, got a few corrupt spots on the tracks on the drive.
Yeah.
Sectors. Remember for fixing sectors of the.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Those were days. Those were good old days. Anyway,
but you know what? So no throwing stones at. I mean, they're receiving plenty of arrows, and I know the financial impact of this is huge, but I think it's incumbent on us to learn from this, right? Because nobody else wants to make that same mistake. Certainly not on that massive scale, but even on a small scale, it's about the quality of whatever you're shipping and how you're shipping it to people to make sure you're delivering the goods.
So Mitchell, my point on it is this, though. no one wants to make the same mistake. And sometimes it takes something like this to kind of shake us out of our complacency. But what do you see going down that'll prevent this from happening or a similar thing from happening again?
I don't see anything preventing it. No, I mean, will CrowdStrike take measures to improve and avoid something like that?
The next one won't be
Sure.
CrowdStrike, because I guarantee you they'll check the heck out of everything they do for a long time. But that's one of dozens of updates that come down every day.
I mean, unless you're going to do an app store, like Apple, all of your updates have to go through them and reviewed and all that kind of stuff, which Microsoft, that would be a massive job for them to do, to review people's updates that are
But you know what?
Yeah.
For all the bitching and moaning about the walled garden, that might have prevented something like this from happening.
That very well could have. Yeah, absolutely. It does. So,
interesting stuff. Interesting stuff.
I don't see the ecosystem changing anytime soon to say, oh my God, we have to rethink this.
I'm hoping, look, there's got to be a better way. I mean, I certainly don't want to go back to Peter Fisher and Fiddy, and wait 90 days, but there's got to be, I don't know, some sort of sandbox that I can run stuff in before I put it on my systems.
Well,
if I can't count on the vendor to do it, the responsibility's on me.
That's true. There is the other side of it is, you are getting what you're getting, and how do you know? It's not going to cause problems, So I do have, the only advice for what it's worth that I would give to George is just when you go in front of Congress, oh my God, what a thing to do. Just don't answer or not answer questions like the head of the Secret Service did. She just retired.
She didn't do so well, huh?
She kind of, there were a few questions she didn't have much information about, basically.
Yeah. Well, you saw she resigned today, right?
Yeah, she stepped down. I mean, what a sucky.
Again, was she responsible for what went down in Butler, Pennsylvania? Probably not, but that's how Congress is. Off with their heads.
Someone's
going to pay for this.
It's a show trial.
Someone's going to pay. Yeah.
Formative committee.
Crazy.
Exactly.
Crazy. Anything else on the security world?
Yeah, well, you know what? We're not very far away. Black Hat is coming up here.
No. By the time people are watching this, we're probably a week out.
Yeah. Yep.
And,
how long have you and I been going to Black Hat? When did we first go? 2005, 4, something like that, maybe 6.
Well, let's put it this way. We were at Caesar's Palace. We had a still secure booth in the hallway.
Yep.
And we were overlooking the, what was the pool called? The topless optional pool?
I don't remember that. It's not the Nile. It was something else. I forgot.
No. It was the Cleopatra pool, maybe?
No.
There was something where it was optional topless, Mitchell. And I remember the second year we were there, we had binoculars we were giving out because people were lined up to look out the window by our booth.
Can I scan your badge? Okay, step up to the window.
You know what? Make lemons out of lemonades, right? Absolutely. Come here, son. Step right up.
So how did you get the most scans at the show? Well,
that's how I did it. That, and then the next year, if you remember, we bought our Black Hat briefs.
We did.
which were the still secure data briefs, ironed on to a pair of underwear, tidy whities, and we would silk screen on the still secure.
Oh my God,
those are a big hit. And then, of course, we filled, the first couple of days of Black Hat were training, and we used to get those big gym balls. What do they call those balls?
Yeah, the bouncy balls, the exercise balls, yeah.
Yeah, and we place all the chairs in the classroom with that, and we were the company with the big balls.
Yeah, we were. Boy, we were pretty heady back in those days.
We had some great times at Black Hat. Then, of course, it was the year I got hacked there, and I had all kinds of trouble coming out of that. We've been going to Black Hat a while, for sure.
I still remember, I wouldn't use my ATM card on any ATM in Caesar's Palace. I wouldn't turn on my Wi-Fi on anything. It was
well, you didn't want to be on the wall of sheep, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
Getting
look,
boned.
that was a very different Black Hat than RSA in Las Vegas that it is now.
Yeah, very much different.
Right? It's
Much more
gone
commercial show
Hollywood
now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a big commercial
That was a
show.
little bit of the Wild West.
Oh,
days.
those were the days. Those were the days, my
That's
friend.
where when wearing a hoodie meant wearing a hoodie.
Yeah, yeah, that was good times. But, for this year's Black Hat, I want to just quickly plug that we were not in Mandalay Bay. I couldn't get a suite there. We're over in the Luxor. But we'll be doing live video streaming all week, or not all week, but for the 2 days that the expo's open. I think it's Wednesday and Thursday. And you, and as well as some of our Futurum analyst friends, will be doing interviews and briefings with folks. And Mitch, what's the best way to request or get in line for that?
The easiest thing is just reach out. If you want to reach out to me directly at it's mashley@futurumgroup, or you can .com, or you can also reach me at mitchell@techstrongresearch.com. Either way, or just message me on LinkedIn. So that's always a good way, and I'll hook you up with whoever. Krista Case is going to be there. Shira will be there. Shira Rubinoff, myself, and I know others will. We have a lot of meetings set up and a lot of.
And if you just want to do it, if you're interested in the TechStrong TV streamed live audio or streamed live video and then replay on TechStrong TV, reach out to sales at techstronggroup.com.
Yeah.
And our team can hook you up there.
Super simple.
Unfortunately, they are all sponsored because someone's got to pay for these suites and everything over there.
Who's got to pay for gambling?
Well, I don't gamble there. But here's something you can get for free, Mitch. We are, TechStrong is co-sponsoring a party Tuesday night, I think is the 5th, at the poolside at Marina Bay Sands. We're one of about 4 or 5.
Mandalay Bay. Right?
Mandalay Bay. Did I say Marina Bay Sands?
Marina.
That's
You've
Singapore.
been on vacation a long time.
Yeah, I have. Marina Bay Sands has a nice pool too. That rooftop pool, like on the boat thing with an infinity. That was when you were there with me that time. We the last time we were in Singapore. Anyway, we're at the Marina Bay Sands. No, we're not. We're at the Mandalay Bay pool.
Yeah, don't go to the Marina Bay Sands.
And we have a big VIP tent there. I think we're going to have. I don't know if we're going to be doing live video interviews. We might. Or recorded video interviews, but we're also going to have our camera booth, and there's music and food and drink and good times, and most of the folks you mentioned will be there. And if you go to our LinkedIn site, and I'll try to put it here in the show notes, you do have to pre-register. It's free, but you need to pre-register. I think it's an Eventbrite page. And when you do the registration, you can pick TechStrong as one, as your sponsor, if you will.
Yeah.
And we have a bunch of seats there, and we look forward to seeing you. If you do come to the party, stop by. I'll be there. Come say hello.
And I'm going to have my handy dandy, mobile system. So we'll be doing some interviews while we're there. So
there we go. We go.
Join. I'm actually talking over this microphone right now, so the production guys are going like, "Would you quit
whatever
messing
you
around
did,
with the mic?"
It sounds good now, Mitch. Sounds a lot better. Whatever you did.
That's good. Okay, glad to hear.
Yeah, good. Anyway, so that's Tuesday. But Mitch, besides selfishly promoting our own stuff, what else
is there a conference going on?
Yeah, I think there's something going on. I know you're there as an analyst, and what are you looking forward to?
It's interesting because Black Hat isn't always attended by everybody, right? Everybody kind of makes the choice of where they're going to invest their dollars, and not everybody I'd like to meet with is going to be there, but I've got some great meetings, conversations going. I think the key thing I'm looking for is kind of the transition of software or the intersection of software and security. We saw that at RSA be a much more kind of rich topic of how security is being involved in and engaging with the software teams, for sure. But it's also interesting too that we're living in a world where the security who offers that is now it's part of the cloud, right? You see more kind of significant offerings for AppSec coming out of the Akamai's of the world, for example. So there's a lot of shifts in that, and of course, everybody's going to be wondering what is Wiz's IPO going to be worth now that they've decided to step away from, what was it?
The Google deal, 23 billion.
God, a lot of money. So a lot of good stuff. And of course, there'll be tons of announcements. What we're going to be doing is I'll be posting video throughout the conference. And I know Krista and Shira will also. Thank you. And also we'll be doing some brief notes that we'll write up during the conference. So I'll be sure to distribute future research notes from the conference. It'll kind of let you know. We're not going to cover everything. We're going to try to pick out the most meaningful things, at least to us. And of course, you're always looking for something that stands out, right? That's the tough thing at the conferences is everybody's got a booth, everybody's got an announcement, and everybody's got a demo to show you, okay, what else? What jumps above the fray?
Agreed. It'll be exciting. I'm looking forward to Vegas this year, Mitch.
Me too.
All right. We hope to see you there at Black Hat.
All right.
Mitch, I think that might do it for this week.
I think we're good. We're good. And, for those who have been listening to us for a long time, since Still Secure, after all these years, podcasting back in the early 2000s to today, or whether you've just joined us recently and said, who are these two guys talking about security? We enjoy the heck out of this. So we appreciate everybody listening and being part of the conversation with us here. So reach out. We'd love to hear from you folks. So,
all righty.
On the vein of wrapping up, this is Mitch Ashley.
And I'm Alan Schimmel.
And you've been listening to Security Boulevard Chats. Nice.